Two jobs.
He's Bruce the Blog.
And he's Bazzo, and you're watching Bruce the Blog Goes Bazzo's New Year's Show.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to, obviously, our last show of 2011. It's our New Year's show, and we're very happy to have as our special guest our good friend Dave Paganelli, Dave of Travelers Rest, and our new Yorktown councilman, town councilman.
You ran for office?
Rumor has it.
Son of a gun!
I was trying for dog catcher, but
I know when we did some. I know when we did some shows during the year, it came up that you were running for office, but I wasn't sure. Yeah. Congratulations, Dave. You know, people talked about that last kiss we did on the last show.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Oh yeah!
Oh my
boy.
God.
This show's going to get X-rated pretty soon, right? But anyhow, Dave, it's hard sitting here not to notice that tie.
My tie.
You know, for our Christmas show last week, I had on like this crazy sweater that looked like a test pattern, and your tie comes pretty close to that.
Well, this tie has an interesting story, actually. I have a tradition. The first two, we do maybe 150, 250 Christmas parties in the course of
Travelers Rest.
Right,
Yeah.
at our restaurant.
You own Travelers Rest, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
And in the first 2 or 3 parties, I will always spot a tie on somebody that I like. And years ago, when the economy was good, you'd say to them, "That's a great tie. Why don't you, let me have that because I'll wear it every day for the next 30 days." And believe it or not, people would actually give you their ties. Yeah. Now it's become a negotiation. So for this particular tie, I traded a $50 gift certificate.
Oh, nice.
Now, my waiter said to me, one of my waiters said, "Dave, that tie's not worth more than $20. And I said, "This tie's worth $600. And they said, "How do you figure that?" I said, "This person that I traded this $50 gift certificate will tell 25 people this story. Since I got this tie on December 3rd, 5 more people have come into my restaurant asking me if I would like to buy their ties.
December 3rd this year?
Yeah. 5 more people have come in and asked if I'd like to buy their ties.
Which is like a few weeks.
Right.
You want to start?
Now, in addition to which, this
So
person...
he did tell, like you said,
right,
he did tell.
this person will bring his $50 gift certificate back with 6 or 8 people.
Right, so...
And spend how much money?
Right.
So the legend of the tie becomes,
Well,
you want to start
self-promoting.
You want to start doing it with a hat, and we can negotiate for mine.
We can negotiate the one that I gave you.
I wear the leather hat.
Never wear the nice hat.
I do wear the leather hat.
Very upset.
I wear the leather hat to special occasions, and I wear it with my leather pants and my leather vest.
That's right, and
we can't go into that on this show.
Like every week.
Well, we can't go into that on this show.
Oh, you can't? Oh, yeah, but probably not.
It wouldn't be wise.
No, it wouldn't be wise, okay.
Anyway, do you have any salutes today, Bruce?
Yes, I do have a salute today.
Oh, who's our sponsor?
Our sponsor is Penny Saver, as it is every other week of the year.
And Happy New Year,
Penny Saver, Chase Media Group.
Happy New Year.
Right. Carla Chase and Frank Rich, thank them for producing this show.
Absolutely.
And we've had a pretty good first year. Actually, it's been a half year, right? We started, I think, in June or something.
June 18th to 16th. Yes.
And, of course, Dave has been with us before, and he'll be with us again into the new year. But anyhow, so the salute of the week, and this goes for any town, because, I think even since you've been on, Dave, now we're in Peekskill, and, we're on that system, which is Austin and Peekskill, Cortland, and on YouTube. We're on YouTube, too. So this could be for any town, but, citizen groups are really important. And a new one in Yorktown that we are saluting this week, it's called Smart Growth Yorktown. And, the point being, how could anybody be against smart growth? So the name is actually well advised. Now, we've heard, I can't confirm this, and I haven't confirmed it, but we've heard, well, they formed the group in response to the election of the new town supervisor, Michael Grace. And I say that that's very good, and that means maybe they supported him because Michael Grace is all about smart growth, right? And Dave is on the council. And of course, we're in favor of smart growth. I mean,
you ran as pro-business candidate.
You were one of the first ones to come up, right, with that plan, pro-business. So anyhow, the point being, it's important for citizens to get involved, and we're going to try and do that in Yorktown, and other towns should do it too. It's, something in business terms, it needs to be bottom up, not top down all the time, right? You need to listen to people, see what they have to say, and I'm sure this group will have some points that should be taken into consideration.
Long before Dave went into politics, you were involved in a lot of stuff with the town through your business. Tell people how they can get involved in some of these grassroots things that you were like, what you wear these ribbons for.
Oh, right, yeah,
Oh,
the
these
bracelets.
are-
The
yeah.
bracelets.
Right, so tell people what they can do.
Well, we have some great organizations in Yorktown. The Support Connection,
Yes,
for one,
right.
that's my pet charity, and the Harrison Apar Foundation that
Thank
we
you, yeah.
support strongly.
Right. So nobody supports more charities than you do.
But what I'm
Everybody-
saying is that there are venues.
Women's Resource
Right.
Center,
The point is that
Relay
there are-
for Life.
Right, Relay for
There are
Life, yeah.
venues in all different, not just
Lots of
political,
lots
not
of
just
venues,
political.
Lots of venues in different areas that, might pique someone's interest
Right.
or someone that's been through an experience that they might feel that they want to, be participatory, reach out to try to help others. I mean, we're in a very difficult economy. And the only way we're going to get through the next year or two till things really, and I don't see things really picking up to 2014 or 15, because there's two things that move the economy: construction and the price of oil. And I don't see any vacillation on that whatsoever.
You're
So-
jumping the gun. We're going to do this at the end. 'cause
Well, we're doing it now because I'm talking about it now. That's the
Well-
way I am. I sort of shoot from the
let's,
hip. and-
Let's go with this then. Okay, now you deal with a lot of purveyors, and a lot of
Yes.
your customers own other businesses in town. What do you believe? I mean, besides what you just said, but locally, what do you see the outlook for local business?
I see the outlook for local businesses. People have become very creative, very imaginative. Those that have survived, we've lost a lot of businesses. I don't have to name them. Restaurants in particular have been especially hard hit. The outlook is not great. You're going to have to reinvent yourself. You're going to have to, differentiate yourself, reach out and.
What you were talking
There's two ways, two things that are business related: revenue stream and expenses.
Right.
You can control expenses to a certain degree, but once you've reached a point where you can't control expenses anymore without sacrificing quality, then you have to start creating a new revenue stream.
Right, you have to fatten the top line. Right,
Just before.
It's like government, same
Yes,
thing.
that's right.
We're in a
Yeah.
position now.
Right.
All right, people are, contesting their taxes. We're having all these sartorial, give backs, and what's going to happen ultimately is you cannot continue to lower people's taxes, even though they deserve that, because their houses are worth
Right.
40%
Now,
less
somebody
than they
recently
were.
told me, by the way, a realtor recently told me in Yorktown alone, something like 800 people were grieving
Yes.
their taxes.
And
Yeah.
the problem is, if
Right.
everyone gets on the bandwagon, the assessments will just go up.
Right, yeah.
That's what'll happen.
Right.
Because you just can't function. I mean, we're staying within the, I promised that I would do everything in my power to stay within the 2% property tax
Right.
cap. All right. And that they would have to drag me out screaming if we had to exceed that.
Right.
And, I made a promise to the voters that I would speak for the silent majority, and I will speak for the silent majority. My mandate is clear. I've met literally dozens and dozens of people since I've been elected, and they've come up to me, in the street. They've come up to me at Kmart when I was buying lights. They've come up for the restaurant. They've come up to me everywhere, and they've said, I voted for you. People I don't even know. And they've said, do you want to know why? And I said, yeah, of course I want to know why. And they said, because you said you would speak for the silent majority, and you will fight for us. We know you're a fighter, and you won't take any.
And by the way,
blow.
no, that's a great point, Dave, because I think, and again, it can apply to any town, that you do have a vocal minorities, right? Who don't necessarily speak for the mainstream. So I think what you're saying is the silent majority has to become the vocal majority, right?
Yeah, but
Well, they can't, because they're working two jobs. They have kids that are
right.
They have kids that are, the wife's working, the husband's working two jobs just to pay the taxes in Yorktown, to be able to afford to live here, to be able to afford the price of oil at $3.75 a gallon. And their kids are going to soccer games, and they're too busy to
Right.
come and
speak up.
spend
Right.
countless hours on some minute thing that affects
Right.
only 2% of the population.
Right.
They need to be represented.
Right, that's a great point.
That's
Yes,
the point.
right.
And you know what? If they can't do it themselves, then
That's what you're there
they've
for,
made
right?
it clear
That's what they want you
by
to
the majority of vote that we receive that what they expect from me.
Right, and by that, we should point out that Mr. Paganelli in the Yorktown election received the most number of votes, right?
Now, Newt Gingrich in one of the debates said the economy will turn the day after the election when people realize Obama's been voted out of office. Thought it was a apropos line for the nationwide economy, but you were talking off the air how people about adjusting to the times, how people that have college educations have jobs now that are not what they went to school for. And
People are doing anything to put bread on the table. I ran an ad 4 weeks ago in the Penny Saver for there's a little plug for you.
A big plug.
Big plug, and actually ran an ad 2 weeks ago again.
And how many responses?
Oh, 2 weeks ago I ran an ad for a bus boy. I've had over 50 responses already.
That's the Penny
The one
Saver.
for the dishwasher, I received almost 70 responses. I actually received a response from a gentleman who had an MBA. Who was looking for a job as a dishwasher.
Right, that's the state of things.
You know, anything to be able to put bread on the table.
That's right.
This is what I talk about being anti-growth, and it's not only just Yorktown, but Peekskill too. They say you have a mentality amongst a political party, the Democrats, that no job is better than a minimum wage job. And so they stop businesses from coming into town because, quote unquote, you can't feed your family on a minimum wage job. But aren't minimum wage jobs entry-level jobs also, where young people get a chance to learn the work ethic, and it's the second job for people that already have a primary job?
Personally, I think that the federal government and state government has been very remiss in their welfare laws and things like this and food stamps, because I know people have been through it. If you're on welfare and you can get a job making $400 a week, minimum wage,
right.
Should there not be a sliding scale of perspective that says, let's say you have 3 kids and you're getting $1,200 a week or whatever you would be getting. Now you get a job for $400. Suppose they gave you $1,000. They're saving $200.
Right.
And there's an incentive for you to go out and do that minimum wage because you're ahead of the game. Right now, there is no incentive for anybody to go out and take that minimum wage.
But Dave, that's on purpose.
Right.
You have a political ruling class that wants people dependent on them, so they will continue to vote for them.
But is that the right thing?
The right
thing.
thing.
The right thing is, people say to me, what are you going to do? I'm going to say, well, I hope to not disappoint anyone. That's my biggest, concern, is that I'll disappoint all these people that supported me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to vote from the heart. I'm going to do the right thing. And there is only one right thing. There's no...
But that's the point, what I try to tell people during the year when they say, how can you support a guy like David Paganelli and Darren Rigger, Republican, Democrat? I said, because the first thing you have to do is put into office honest people.
And it's not about political parties.
Right.
It's about people.
No. But what I'm saying is the philosophy, you have to change a culture, an embedded culture. You've got to get honest people into office first.
Right.
Then you worry about honest people you agree with.
Yeah, right,
But first,
exactly, right,
you want honest people.
Right.
And that again, you know what your mandate is. And like I said, to put down honest work at any form, at any income level, is a terrible thing that I want.
Right.
But you watch a political party do this.
Yes, no, you're right.
And make it, this is too menial for you.
Right.
You got an MBA guy that thinks dishwasher's not too menial.
No, you know something, you both know Elise,
Well,
my wife,
necessity
she
is
says
the
that all the
mother of
time.
invention.
When Elise will say that, she's a little outspoken. And
You think?
she'll say the same thing. No, she says the same thing. I mean, she's always been, when I was, years ago, when I was downsized, Elise, when Harrison was still around, she went out and she got a waitressing job at Chili's. And her whole attitude or philosophy is, when she hears people like we're talking about out of work and they're complaining, she goes, go anywhere and get a job. Nothing's beneath you, right?
I only have companies.
You know what? My dad was a plumber, and a union plumber, never had his own business or anything. And he would say to me, Dave, no matter what you do, as long as you make an honest living. He said, you think it's a glamorous job being a plumber, sticking your hand in people's toilets?
Right.
It's not a glamorous job.
And plumbers can do quite well, too. Right.
He always, he always made a living. My dad couldn't handle pressure. He wasn't, he had an opportunity to own his own business. It was just too much for him. I remember when he was a shop steward from one job, and I remember my dad was a big, burly guy, and
like you.
Tough guy, bigger than me, and tough guy. Yeah. And had me when he was 18 years old. My parents were very young. Right. I remember him sitting at the dining room table crying, with all these plans laid out. And I said to my mother, what's the matter with Dad? And he said, I can't do this. I can't run a job with 30, 40 guys on it. Wow. Yet I have an uncle who was an electrician, and he ran into Indian Point.
Oh, really?
All right, because he had tremendous ability to organize and run people. Right. So.
But by the way,
it's inherent.
You're right.
It's like lead, follower, get out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. On Morning Joe Scarborough.
Yes.
The cable show that I like to watch.
You would.
On MSN. No. Why? Joe Scarborough is
He's
a Republican.
phony.
Okay, anyhow, but just the other day, they were saying that, I forget who the guest was, but they have very erudite guests with a lot of information. So now the poverty line in this country is defined as $20,000 a year for a family of 4, and $40,000 a year is they say it's a low income earner for a family of 4. Half of the people in the country are in the low income. It's unbelievable.
What we're having
in the country.
What we're experiencing in this country, within the next 10 years, there'll be no middle class.
That's exactly what the point was.
There will be
Excuse me, I'm going to beg to differ with both of you right now, because the Heritage Foundation did a survey on low income
isn't
and
that
poverty.
Ultra conservative think tank.
The fact that doesn't negate what the survey came up with.
Well, it's a spin.
No, it doesn't. No, it is what it is. That poor and low income, poor especially. Let's deal with the poor. 80% of poor people in the United States have a television set.
It's a necessity.
75% of poor people have a mobile phone. 93% have a landline. 90% have an automobile.
Okay.
That's the poor in this country.
And
the poor in this country are actually middle class.
What?
And without knowing it. What? A car, a TV, an air conditioner, a mobile phone? That's not middle class. That's poor. Poor is the people coming from South America that eat garbage just to survive their daily life. They know what poor is. The American poor hasn't a friggin' clue what poor is. There are so many government services, so much from food stamps. Nobody has to go hungry in this country. Nobody has to go without health care in this country. We don't know what poor is.
Yeah. Depends on your definition of eating garbage. Some people think fast food is garbage, too.
No, they literally eat garbage.
And I know what you're saying. I'm not trying to make light of it.
And I'm sorry,
but
so how do you tell me that the middle class is disappearing? The middle class is the poor, because they got all the stuff we have and we're middle class. We just have nicer stuff. We have newer cars. You have a phone that talks to you. My phone just goes ring, ring, ring. But, it is what it is.
Right.
But I'm sorry, to say that the middle class is disappearing, I'm going to disagree. I love you to death, and I'm going to disagree with you.
That's your opinion, and I beg to differ. Right. I believe the middle class is shrinking. I believe that, people are having trouble paying their taxes. I mean, I visited over 4,000 homes in Yorktown, and let me tell you something. The one when I got a call from the Journal News, and they said, Dave, you visited, so many homes. What are the 3 most important issues facing people in Yorktown? I said, the 3 most important issues are taxes, taxes, and taxes. Period.
Yep.
That's what people are concerned about.
And
People are concerned
driving up
about
the taxes?
The taxes. What people don't realize is that 71% of their tax bill is school taxes.
And what drives that up?
Right.
Did you know that just came out? Was just in the paper yesterday.
The government
The highest paid civil servants are teachers. Not cops, not firemen, not even elected officials who should be the lowest paid. Teachers are the highest paid civil servants, and they don't do nearly the risk or the quality job that a policeman or a fireman does, because our education system in this country swats. You hear it all the time. We're not spending enough money on education because we don't compare it as good as Europe.
Speaking of education, what was that word?
What?
Swats.
Oh, I
missed that was like
vocabulary.
My cousin Vinny Utes. I think that was him.
I'm sorry, the education.
You get very excited. You make up words.
Yeah,
well, I tried to keep calm. Listen, I gave a whole show with being
obviously
calm.
you had a good
this isn't it.
You had a good
education. This is not your calm show.
I gave you half a show.
Is this preparing me for the board?
This is preparing.
You're getting me ready? Because a lot of people are saying they just can't wait till I just throw someone on the counter and start attacking them. You might be it.
You look at a bottle that's half empty. Right. I'm saying a lot of the middle class is not middle class because they have risen up in income levels too.
Right.
They never just lost income to go out of the middle class. A lot of them have increased their income to move up.
How do you think the unemployment rate is affecting the middle class? All right, what's the government telling us right now? We got 8.6% unemployment.
Which is a lie.
Which is total bull.
Right.
Total bull. They're not counting in the kids that are coming out of college that can't find jobs. They're not counting the people that are I had an argument with a customer the other night at the restaurant with this. They said, no. I said, you're blind. I said, you're myopic and you're not seeing the big picture. They're not counting the people that are off the rolls that can't count. I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts that we're closer to 16% unemployment in New York State right now.
Right, and like it's because they juggle numbers. But I'm going to give you something. We both have a mutual friend in Greg Ball.
Right.
Yet he's against fracking. That will create not only jobs but union jobs.
See, I don't agree with that.
But why?
I don't agree with that because
Agree with what?
I don't agree with having a definitive position against fracking.
You're saying you're for fracking.
I'm not saying I'm for fracking.
Okay,
all right.
all
What
right.
I'm saying, and I'm not being a panderer, okay? Because I want this to be very clear. This is not the way I'll be on the board. But I believe that, from what I understand, the shale line runs from Utica down to Georgia. Okay, it doesn't run through Yorktown, so there's very little chance we'll have any fracking in Yorktown,
Right.
contrary to popular belief.
Right.
We've heard.
Right.
Well, we've heard.
Yes,
Contrary to popular belief. So that being said, we need to, we cannot be alarmist and we cannot say, oh, well, in Pennsylvania this happened, because
Right.
any industry in its infancy has growing pains.
Right.
Okay, we cannot preclude an entire industry which might bring an incredible amount of revenue and jobs to this country, to this state. Forget this country, to this state where we're suffering.
No,
and
Yes, right.
and
I-
it might. And are you going to tell me that the DEP and the DEC are so ineffective
No, Right,
I know.
that they're going to allow
Right.
our watershed to get
Get
contaminated?
polluted, yeah.
Okay,
I
now
know.
I did a couple of columns on this because I know the money and I know number one, the watershed is only a small portion of this area.
Right,
And,
and-
nobody's saying to drill in the watershed.
Well, no one's going to be allowed to drill. in
Right,
the
but
watershed.
nobody's saying that they should either.
Right.
Yet our environmental laws are a lot stronger than Wyoming's and Pennsylvania's to begin with. What happened in those states would not happen here. However, but it's only a small portion, so let's get this out. But we stop all fracking for that little portion.
Right.
What
we've
would that
already-
be referred to as? Catering to special interest groups?
Yeah, and Greg Ball is against this fracking.
Catering to special interest
Yeah.
groups. Very much like not speaking for the silent majority
Right.
and pandering to special
Yeah,
interest
yeah.
groups.
No, right. But
Yeah,
also,
they-
but something.
But they just
No
cut-
different than
but hold
anything on a
They
local
just
level.
cut it-
Right, no,
They
you're
just touted a budget revisal where they raised the taxes on the super rich. They said they lowered the taxes on the middle class. But the only thing that's going to create jobs right now in New York in this growing industry is energy. And they're fighting all energy creation and any real jobs. But they say, oh, we just cut the taxes off on the middle class. But we're raising it on the people that are going to create jobs and invest in jobs and invest in
Right.
the market. And not only that, they say we eliminated the MTA tax. However, the state's going to give them back $250 million. Well, who the hell is the state?
They're just not calling it a tax.
Right, who the
Where's it coming
But,
from?
but you know about my love affair with words, right?
Yes.
So, seriously, if you think about it, part of the problem with the fracking controversy is the fracking people need a lot better PR. Seriously. Most people probably don't even know it's really hydraulic fracturing. So to begin with, you're calling something fracturing, which sounds negative and bad, right? To begin with. It makes it too easy to say, get the frack out of here.
But
right?
the
but you know what I'm saying?
information- the
And I
information
think
is
that's
out
part of the
there.
problem. It sounds like it's a
A
bad
guy like
practice.
I just-
What are you fracturing?
But people also are doing is they're taking the initial experiences with this
Right. No, you're right.
this
Dave.
industry in its
That's
infancy.
a very sensible thing you're saying.
And they're taking
Right.
this and they're blowing it out of proportion.
so
and
what you're saying is-
oh my God, in Pennsylvania this happened. Pennsylvania, maybe they're a little more lax on their
But not only that,
environmental
They're
laws
They're
than New
pretending
York.
like we don't have environmental laws already in place that are actually even tougher than California's.
Oh, you
just
mean,
general.
for instance, that we had actually, prior to initiating a tree ordinance in Yorktown, that we actually had an ordinance that dealt with clear cutting of trees?
But
That
just-
we
right.
didn't have people cutting down 100 trees
But
on their
just-
property.
just-
For 20 years, we
But
never had a
just-
problem.
I know, exactly, right.
And now we had to initiate
Well, wait a
another
minute.
law,
What did
another
you-
layer
what
of
did you say
government.
before? Vocal minority.
Yes.
But the point is that even when they talk about that it infects well water. Well, in New York State, the well water casing that surrounds the wells, the cement, is, I think, 4 times as thick as the toughest law in any other part of this country. What happened in Pennsylvania, what happened in Wyoming, was because the casings for their well water were only a foot thick. A foot thick. A good storm breaks this. But you know why you're here?
I think you can't dismiss anything without proper investigation.
Right.
You can't overreact to an instance that occurred and say, oh my gosh, everyone's going to have, water coming out of their tap that you can light on fire. All right, that's one instance out of God knows how many hundreds of thousands of people that were in that particular
Believe it or
area.
not, hydrofracking, the modern hydrofracking has been going on since the 60s, and they've come up with that one instance.
No, but and the thing about what Dave makes a great point. He really does, because you have all these people coming out with little or no knowledge, and it's such a new technology.
And we elected him senator.
Well, not only are they not experts, they're not experts, right? And, you know what these people? They're experts in opposing
This
progress.
is what's
They're
driving
experts
me
in opposing
crazy. I hate
That's right. They're not experts in the technology.
I have such a bugaboo with this. You have people in the New York State government, in the federal government, that haven't done your phrase, have never signed the front of paychecks, telling people that do how to do their job. Now, that's why I said we want people like you that can sign the front of a paycheck to be able to start educating some of the people around you.
Yes.
And this is, I think,
an easier task.
Yeah, but I think it's one. But that's one of the unsaid things you were elected to do, to explain to them.
I think we should wrap up. Anybody have New Year resolutions?
Yes, mine was kept. I said in my column last year that I hope by this time this year you would be in elective office. You are, Dave. I am a happy man.
Thank you.
I hope you're as happy as I am.
I am. I hope I don't disappoint the public. I hope that, I'll stay true to message. I will, carry my mandate and...
Will you be Paganelli for the people?
Absolutely.
That's all they're asking.
I love that. That's great, Peg. Yeah.
That's all they're asking.
And in the same breath, my resolution is to continue trying to do good work in the community and help the community. And besides, it's interesting how much it has to do with Harrison or losing a child. I don't know, but as I get older, I feel like that's more fulfilling than anything. Like where you ran, right? Yep. It's and what you do at the restaurant with your charities is helping the community, helping other people, because it helps us. It helps everybody.
But my best resolution is I hope the people that watch this show will have a better year next year than they had this year.
Amen.
And I hope that you will tell your friends about this show so our audience will keep growing. And don't forget, you can see the best of Rooster Blog goes Bazzo on YouTube.
Can I have a resolution?
Yes, I just want to mention Denise Wilson, who does the show on YouTube.
Right, great. Thank you, Denise, and a Happy New Year to you.
Now, Dave,
my resolution is that we all be grateful for the small things that we have our health, we can get up and we can fight the battle every day. My wife gave me a great shirt last year, and I've gotten more comments on it. It's a black sweatshirt, and it says on the top, "Tough times never last, tough people always do."
That's a great line.
And
that's a great line, right?
That's something going forward in a tough economy that we all need to understand. We need to cowboy up. It's going to be tough, but we need to do what we need to do to get done. And as your councilman, I will do everything in my power to make your life a little bit easier.
Dave, you already won.
By the way, Dave.
I know.
That's great.
I think
the
best thing you could do as a councilman is not make people feel like they're victims.
Right.
That there's always hope.
There's always hope.
I just want to say this last thing. I wrote at the end of my blog. It's like ties it all up.
You have a blog?
Let reverie radiate reverence. This is like, the holidays. Let reverie radiate reverence. Let tolerance be our guide. I think everybody could be more tolerant. And let goodness and light show us all the way. So, right?
I say be in your face and tell them like it is. Right. These were my opinions. You may beg to differ. Happy New Year.
And when Bruce the Blog listens, people talk a very happy and safe and prosperous New Year. And thanks, Dave.
David, thank you for coming.
God bless America.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Right.
Thank you.
Rosa.
I know you like you know trouble comes around.